If someone told you in 2021 that Messi would drag Argentina all the way to the World Cup and win it, you probably would have laughed. Then Qatar happened, and boom, fairy tale complete. And depending on who you ask, like Wesley Sneijder, maybe Argentina even got a bit of luck along the way. But here's where things get interesting. Sneijder didn't just talk about Messi and Argentina. He said something that turned heads. He believes Portugal actually have a better chance of winning the 2026 World Cup than Argentina do. And honestly, when you start looking at the squad, the new generation, the depth, the experience, it gets kind of hard to argue with him. Think about it for a moment. Portugal has had legends for decades. Eusebio lighting up the 60s, Luis Figo bossing the early 2000s, and Cristiano Ronaldo carrying the nation on his back for almost 2 decades. But even with all that talent, they've never won a World Cup. Euros? Check. Nations League? Check. World Cup? Still waiting. And here's the funny part. Ronaldo himself probably isn't even dreaming about lifting that trophy anymore. At his age, most players are chilling on a beach, coaching their kids' Sunday league teams, or doing punditry somewhere. But not Cristiano. The man is still breaking records, scoring goals, and acting like age is just another defender he needs to dribble past. So today, let's dive into a massive what if. What if this is finally Portugal's moment? What if 2026 is the year everything clicks? The talent, the timing, the luck, the leadership, and Ronaldo gets the ending that his story has been teasing for years. Because trust me, if Portugal actually pull this off, the football world won't just shake. It'll explode. Alright, let's kick things off with the obvious talking point. Cristiano Ronaldo. Because no matter what Portugal does, no matter how many young stars come through, the conversation always comes back to him. And honestly, reason number one for why Portugal could win the 2026 World Cup is, well, the Ronaldo situation itself. Now look, most fans don't really hype up the Nations League. Half the football world treats it like a fancy collection of friendlies with better lighting. But for Ronaldo and Roberto Martinez, that trophy was basically a parachute. After that embarrassing Euro 2024 exit, you remember the memes, right? People were calling for both of them to walk away. Captain, coach, out, done, finished. But then Portugal went and won the Nations League, and suddenly the temperature dropped and everybody calmed down. And that win changed everything. It kept Martinez in the dugout and Ronaldo in the armband, which means CR7 is almost definitely going to lead Portugal into the 2026 World Cup at 41 years old. I know, that sounds crazy. Your uncle's back hurts when he stands up too fast, and here's Ronaldo preparing for another World Cup. But here's where things get spicy. Yes, Ronaldo's been scoring. 13 goals since the Euros is no joke. But when Portugal needed him in that massive qualifier away to Ireland, the pressure hit, he snapped, and the man got himself sent off in peak Ronaldo fashion. And what happened after? Portugal played without him, and suddenly they looked like they'd been upgraded to cheat code mode. They smashed Armenia 9-1, played some of their most fluid football in years, and everyone watching had that same thought. Ugh. Are these guys actually better without him? Because when you look at this squad, the talent, the mobility, the pace, the creativity, you start to feel like Ronaldo might need Portugal more than they need him. The youngsters can press, sprint, rotate, switch positions, all the stuff that a 41-year-old can't exactly do for 90 minutes. But here's the twist. Even if he's suspended for the first game or two of the World Cup, Martinez isn't benching him long term. No chance. He's built this system around Ronaldo for years. Changing it now? That's like switching the main actor halfway through a movie. Not happening. So what does that mean for 2026? It means Portugal are walking into this tournament with a legendary captain, a risky game plan, a squad that might outgrow him, and a coach who refuses to change course. And sometimes, football loves that kind of chaos. It creates storylines, pressure, drama, and every once in a while, magic. And who knows, maybe this weird Ronaldo-Portugal dynamic is exactly the kind of spark that leads to something unbelievable. Now let's talk about the real firepower behind this whole Portugal could actually win the World Cup idea, the squad. Because honestly, when you look past Ronaldo, you start to realize this Portugal team is built like a deluxe combo meal. They've got everything. Sauce, sides, extras, the whole thing. First off, the midfield. Bruno Fernandes and Bernardo Silva. Man, these two are like cheat codes. One's pinging passes like a quarterback, the other is gliding around defenders like he's on skates. They don't just create chances, they control entire games. When they're on it, Portugal isn't just good, they're scary. Then you look up front and it gets even better. João Felix, when he decides he's in the mood, can unlock any defense. And Rafael Leão, that guy runs like someone pressed the turbo button. Give him space, and defenders start praying. This isn't a one-man attack anymore, and defensively, they're solid. Like, you're not scoring today, solid. Ruben Dias marshalling the back line, Nuno Mendes bombing forward with energy for days, Cancelo doing Cancelo things. You know, playing as a fullback, midfielder, winger, and magician all at once. And behind them, Diogo Costa, calm, reliable, and the kind of goalkeeper who makes those match-saving stops that World Cup stories are built on. So yeah. Portugal aren't coming to North America to take photos and buy souvenirs. This squad is one of the deepest they've ever had. Youth, experience, versatility, star power. It's all there. On paper, they can go toe-to-toe with Argentina, Brazil, France, England, you name it. But here's the big question hanging over everything. Can Cristiano Ronaldo do what Messi did in Qatar? Because if Ronaldo somehow leads this team all the way and gets his hands on that trophy, the GOAT debate isn't just reopened, it's getting thrown into a blender. Portugal absolutely have the tools to make a deep run. They have the legs, the creativity, the squad depth, and the moments of brilliance needed to win a tournament like this. And if they can line it all up, the attack clicking, the defense staying tight, the stars showing up when it matters most, then yeah, they're not just contenders, they're legit threats to take the whole thing. Another big reason Portugal could actually go all the way in 2026 is the mentality and tactical identity they've built under Roberto Martinez. This team doesn't just rely on individual talent anymore. They've developed a mindset that helps them survive chaos, absorb pressure, and still find ways to win. You could see it during their qualifiers. Even in matches where things got messy, they stayed calm, trusted the system, and found solutions instead of panicking. That kind of mentality is priceless at a World Cup where one bad moment can knock you out. And credit to Martinez here. He's done a solid job blending the young guys with the veterans. He's not just using Ronaldo as a trophy piece. He genuinely believes Ronaldo still adds something to the team, not just with goals, but with his presence and the standards he sets. At the same time, he's given younger players the freedom to shine, which is why Portugal's attack can explode one game and then play more controlled the next. His whole approach is built on balance. Use the experience when needed, let the energy of the younger players take over when the game demands it. Tactically, Portugal have also become more flexible. They're no longer one-dimensional or predictable. They can change gears depending on who they're facing. If they need to break a deep block, they've got the creators to do it. If they need to defend a lead and absorb pressure, the structure is there. And because the squad is so deep, Martinez can switch things up mid-game without weakening the team. That's a massive advantage in tournaments where every match feels like a different puzzle. And then there's the leadership factor. Ronaldo, even at this age, hasn't lost his hunger. The guy still wants to prove something, and that energy spreads to everyone around him. When young players look at someone who's won everything and is still pushing himself like a maniac, it sets a tone. Combine that with a coach who demands focus and resilience, and you get a team that doesn't fold easily. This Portugal side has already shown they can handle pressure, grind out tough moments, and stay mentally sharp when the stakes rise. If they bring that same mindset to North America in 2026, along with their tactical flexibility and squad depth, they're going to be a nightmare for anyone who faces them. Now let's talk about something people always forget until it's too late: penalty shootouts. And in a World Cup, you will run into them. It's almost guaranteed. And here's where Portugal have a sneaky, underrated advantage that could genuinely push them deeper into the tournament. They're absolutely stacked with elite penalty takers, and they've got Diogo Costa standing tall between the posts. First, the takers. Portugal's squad is filled with players who are not just good at penalties, they're ice cold. Bruno Fernandes, the hop and slot master. The guy could take a penalty in the middle of an earthquake and still find the corner. Cristiano Ronaldo, say what you want about his age, but if there's one thing he hasn't lost, it's the ability to smash a penalty with the confidence of someone who's done it 1,000 times, because he literally has. Bernardo Silva, João Felix, Rafael Leão, all more than capable of stepping up. Even the defenders like Ruben Dias and Cancelo aren't scared to take responsibility when the pressure hits. And we've seen this play out in real games. Think back to the Nations League final. Portugal didn't just win because they played well. They won because when the moment came to hold their nerve, they did exactly that. Every taker looked like they knew what they were doing. No shaking legs, no overthinking, just calm dispatching of penalties. That kind of composure doesn't magically appear in a World Cup. It has to be built over time, and this team has been sharpening that skill for years. But the real difference maker? Diogo Costa. This guy is becoming a penalty-saving machine. He's got that perfect balance. Quick reactions, sharp instincts, and the confidence to read a player's body language. In the Nations League and the qualifiers, he made some massive saves that completely changed matches. When a goalkeeper starts building that reputation, the kind that makes penalty takers hesitate for half a second, it gives his team a psychological edge before the shootout even starts. In a knockout tournament, having a group of penalty takers who are reliable, calm, and technically sound is huge. But having a goalkeeper the world is starting to fear, that's the kind of thing that turns 50-50 situations into Portugal's advantage. And if 2026 gives us one of those tense, heart-stopping shootouts, which it probably will, Portugal might just be the team most ready for that moment. Let's have a little fun with this one, because you knew this had to come up. After talking about Portugal's penalty shootout strength, there's something even wilder going on, and it starts with Cristiano Ronaldo walking into the White House like he owns the place. The cameras are bouncing between Elon Musk and a bunch of billionaires, and suddenly they swing over, and there's Ronaldo. Not on a football pitch, not at a Ballon d'Or ceremony, but at a black-tie dinner in Washington, sitting just a couple of feet away from Donald Trump and Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And across the table, Gianni Infantino himself, the FIFA boss. You couldn't script a room with more potential influence if you tried. And the funniest part? Nobody even knows why Ronaldo was there. Was he invited as a football ambassador, a celebrity guest, a new member of some elite global club? All we know is that he flew across the Atlantic, stepped into the East Room, surrounded by politicians, billionaires, princes, tech giants, and somehow fit right in like he was attending a Champions League awards night. Now here's where it gets interesting for the World Cup. Because whether you love him or hate him, Ronaldo showing up in that room raised eyebrows everywhere. He's sitting right next to the people who literally pull the strings of global football and global politics. The US president, the Saudi powerhouse behind his Al Nasser contract, and the FIFA president who oversees suspensions, rules, and tournaments. People instantly started joking. Well, Portugal's definitely getting a penalty every game now. And honestly, with that guest list, you can't blame them. And let's not pretend there hasn't been speculation. Portugal fans have been sweating over Ronaldo's potential World Cup suspension after that red card against Ireland. It's hanging over his head, but then suddenly there he is in a room where every powerful figure that could, hypothetically, ease that situation is clinking glasses 3 tables away. Completely innocent or not, it makes the whole thing feel like one of those only in 2025 stories where sports, politics, and business mix together like a weird cocktail. Add to that Infantino smiling, Trump making jokes, MBS sitting proudly beside his most expensive signing, Ronaldo sipping champagne like he's at a music awards show. Tell me that's not the most bizarre pre-World Cup scene ever. Does any of this guarantee Portugal will get more penalties? Of course not, but does it make people talk? Oh, absolutely. Football fans will forever believe in these little storylines. The superstition, the conspiracy, the something's cooking vibes. And with Ronaldo suddenly shaking hands with the people who could, in theory, influence how the World Cup climate feels. The timing is, let's just say, interesting. At the very least, it adds a massive spotlight to every Portugal match. Every foul on Ronaldo will be watched closer. Every VAR check will be talked about. Every decision involving Portugal is going to trend online. And sometimes that kind of attention alone changes how games are officiated. Refs know millions of eyes are laser focused, expecting something dramatic. And in tournaments, that pressure can tilt things, even if nobody intends it. So yeah, Portugal already have the players, the mentality, the tactics, the penalty specialists, but now they also have the most unexpected X factor of all. Ronaldo showing up at the most powerful dinner party on earth, right before the biggest World Cup of his career. If football ever wanted a storyline, this is it. But what do you think? Could Ronaldo finally lift the one trophy that's escaped him his entire career? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you enjoyed the breakdown, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive. Thanks for watching, and let's see what 2026 has in store.